Travis Holmes with the Duval Dive, Fans First Sports Network, and BigCatCountry.com here with your Jacksonville Jaguars updates. As always, heading into the weekend, the work don't stop, man. We just wanted you to come and give you a quick show, just because obviously we're in the quote unquote dead zone, but ain't nothing dead in Duval County because them boys still working. For those of you who haven't seen, who haven't been paying attention, again, I understand you guys have lives. I get it. Obviously, I'm the only one without one, so let's get into it. Jamal St. Cyr of News for Jags already, let us know that a Jaguars source basically let him know that the Jaguars GM search was going to go until next week, with up to five finalists, getting the in-person interviews, which is including Ethan Wall, Jacksonville Jaguars interim general manager, and assistant general manager throughout the 2024 season. Now that report correlates to Jonathan Jones's previous report from CBS Sports, stating that the interviews would and should be completed sometime next week, the week ahead of the NFL Combine. So both of those reports seem to line up. Basically, Jacksonville Jaguars fans, you should generally be expecting a general manager hire sometime next week, and you should be expecting approximately five finalists for that role. Now, again, the news don't stop. I mean, these boys are still working right now. For those of you who haven't been paying attention to BigCatCountry.com, first off, shame on you. But also, second off, hey, man, they have been working seriously. Take a look at the article on the website. But for those of you who haven't read it, the Jacksonville Jaguars have reportedly hired offensive assistant Trevor Millicent. For the most part, this is the general report. Again, there's a full breakdown on the website, but to give you the snippets, to give you the highlights, the Jacksonville Jaguars have hired an assistant offensive coordinator and O-line coach from Western Michigan University. Now, he spent those years before that, at Notre Dame as an offensive analyst, and he also had time at Wake Forest. The big highlights is he had an All-American guard, first team All-American guard. He also had an All-MAC center, one of the best centers in the nation, was in the competition. He was a Remington Trophy finalist. And for a team that was 35th in the nation in rushing and 27th in touchdowns. You're not going to get better than that at this stage for a offensive assistant role. Additionally, we had a similar hire that was reported, but again, not officially announced through the team, that the Jacksonville Jaguars will also be hiring Frederick Walker as an additional offensive assistant. Now, again, these, honestly, in my opinion, are slam dunk, knock them out of the park, grand slam hires for assistant roles. Walker, he was the former Las Vegas Raiders assistant quarterback coach. He spent the past 3 seasons there. Originally, he was an offensive assistant there, and then he became the assistant quarterbacks coach in this past year. Before that, he was the Dallas Cowboys quarterback position coach while Dak was at Mississippi State University. He also coached the New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones when he was a Duke offensive assistant back in 2018 and 2019. Yo, that's dope. I mean, again, Frederick Walker, he previously interviewed for the Seattle Seahawks quarterback coach role this offseason. So, like, if you can get those types of guys as your offensive assistants, and you've already finalized your staff, oh boy, that's y'all cooking right now. Like you seriously are. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Now, I don't think I'm being a little too over the top in that. At the end of all of this, I've seen people complaining online. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have 45 coaches. They're going to, there's so many coaches. Like, I'm happy to see it, but also, like, what's up with that? Like, man, it ain't your money. It is not coming from my bank account. It is not coming from your bank account. If Shad Khan is willing to pay it and Liam Cohen feels comfortable with us writing those checks, then hey, man, just win. I don't care if we have to hire one coach for every individual player. You know what? Are we winning? And if we win, it is worth it. So I am absolutely here for all that. Again, if you haven't been paying too much attention, the Jaguars also finished interviews with the last of the virtual bunch for this week. I say the last, but they can always pop up with another interview they haven't previously announced or previously reported interest in over this weekend. So don't hold me to that. But nevertheless, out of the original 10 individuals who had reported interest from the team, everyone has been interviewed virtually for this first week as of the time of this recording, other than Ethan Wall, who may or may not actually have to interview in this first round, seeing as he's already been announced as being one of the finalists per EVP Tony Baselli and multiple reports that are out there. So nevertheless, Ian Cunningham and Packers Vice President of Player Personnel, John Eric Sullivan, both completed their virtual interviews today on Friday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day also out there. If you're listening to me with the girl in the car, shame on you. And if you are the girl listening to me, high five, man, right here. That's what I'm talking about. Way to go. Way to lock in. But nevertheless, for those of you who have not taken a look at the profiles for Ian Cunningham or John Eric Sullivan, take a look at BigCatCountry.com. I gave you guys a full profile, a full dossier on who these guys are, so that there's no confusion. But if you don't recognize John Eric Sullivan, because again, we've been talking about Ian Cunningham all off season. He's the son of Jerry Sullivan. And if you don't recognize that name because maybe you're a new Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I understand. Former Jacksonville Jaguars receivers coach, an NFL great, again, across the board, anyone around the NFL will tell you he is one of the best receivers coaches in the game for very many years. Jerry Sullivan, that's his dad. He was the wide receiver coach for the Jaguars from 2012 to 2016 when we had, I guess, who do we have? Allen Robinson, Allen Hearns, Cecil Shorts, Justin Blackman at a point, like those guys. He's the one who was coaching up those guys. That's pretty dope. Just to start off the conversation, that's a pretty good start to your resume. Hey, this is my pops. Oh, all right, cool. But nevertheless, Eric Sullivan, he is the vice president of player personnel for the Green Bay Packers. He spent his full 23-year NFL executive career under the two Packers GMs, Ted Thompson and Brian Gutekunst. Like, he's built his way up through the football internship program to football operations. So he's had a little bit, he has experience on the cap side and the free agency and the college football side, kind of all of it. He's also the scout who first identified Jordan Love to the Green Bay Packers organization. Like, he is that guy in a lot of ways. So if you like how the Green Bay Packers have built things because they've had a history of building things in the quote unquote right way, this sounds like a kind of guy that you might want to bring into the building. But nevertheless, I mean, he's also had a hand in and a voice in the hiring of Matt LaFleur. Again, these are some pretty significant, feathers in your hat, if you want to just call it that what it is. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how that's going to go, if he's going to be able to get into that final round of the final round of general manager candidates. I don't know how that's going to go, but we should be finding that out pretty soon, possibly by Monday, if they're talking about having a hiring by Friday. But we again have the 10 general manager candidates who have been either interviewed or have the interest as far as that's concerned, with Mikey Greenberg from Tampa Bay already withdrawing himself from that equation, which would have been 11 candidates. I have my predictions and I wanted to share them with you guys. So these are the overall options that we had available with, again, Mikey Greenberg already gone, Ian Cunningham of the Bears. This is kind of like how I think this thing might fall. Ian Cunningham first, James Gladstone being the second one in line if maybe Ian Cunningham doesn't like how this thing's going to fall. And after looking to John Eric Sullivan, honestly, I think he might be my third, if not my fourth on that list. But, but it's a little bit of a dogfight between he and Terrence Gray of the Buffalo Bills. But that's kind of where I fall with this. And I kind of wanted to know your guys' thoughts on, what is your order? Who are your five that you think are truly going to be the guys to get into this finalist round on Monday? Let me know in the comments. Again, this is how I think it is possibly going to fall. Ian Cunningham, finalist. James Gladstone of the Rams, finalist. John Eric Sullivan, I think, has to be in that room. That's just me personally talking. If you disagree, again, let me know, and maybe let me know why, even on the Big Cat Country article or in the comments here. I'm here for the conversation. Hit me up on the socials. We can talk about it. That's fine by me. And I also believe Terrence Gray, the Bills director of player personnel, is also going to be in that room. I just think there may be a fighting chance between Brandon Brown, the Giants AGM, but that's kind of where I'm kind of stuck between that, he and Terrence Gray. But again, These are just my thoughts, the random musings of an NFL quote unquote reporter, quote unquote media guy, quote unquote fan of the team. Like that's just what I do. So if you disagree, that's fine. If you agree, that's also fine. I just love the fact that you guys listen to my opinion. So stay tuned to the Duval Dive. We will have you guys covered. Stay tuned to bigcatcountry.com where we continue to give you the best coverage out there. And if you are not favoriting that site and going to visit us every day, shame on you. But also, I get it. Do better. New Year's resolution 2025, baby. That's absolutely fine. Duval. Later, y'all.